Hello, I'm Judy McInerney, and a few years ago I stumbled across a really bizarre and vicious practice which took place in Renaissance times. It's very difficult to find any research on it. It's not even on Google, if you can believe that. But it did happen. You see evidence of it in many paintings, and it's mentioned in A Midsummer Night's Dream, so this awful procedure really did take place and was known about all over Europe during Shakespeare's time. I've always been interested in the Italian Renaissance painter Andrea Mantegna. I find his paintings with their odd perspectives strange and unsettling. There is a link to this cruel process in one of his famous frescoes in the Gonzaga Palace in Mantua. When you walk into this small room, it feels like walking into a jewellery box, with brilliant frescoes on two walls and the other walls painted to look like dark leather curtains. The atmosphere inside is off-kilter and claustrophobic. When I went to see them, you could only stay in the room for 5 minutes because the frescoes are so fragile. I must have looked disappointed because the attendant said to me, "Don't worry, 5 minutes might be long enough." He told me that some people find the room disturbing and have to leave quickly. I didn't, but I knew what he meant. Mantegna spent many years working in Mantua, an intriguing city with plenty of evidence of its cruel history still there today. You can see the hooks under the Broletto Bridge where people were strung up by their thumbs. And there is still the cage, even today, that swings up high by the side of the Gabbia Tower in the old town, where the accused, but not necessarily the guilty, were shoved inside, winched up over the cobbles, and left to freeze to death in winter or to bake to death in summer. Verdi chose the Mantuan court as his setting for Rigoletto, an opera with an atmosphere of treachery, evil curses, and murder. As a complete contrast to all this darkness, I'm also very interested in China. I have family there, and during a recent trip, I discovered that slaves from Asia were sold in vast slave markets in Venice and Padua, and I wondered what it might have been like for a young, well-born, well-educated Chinese woman to be abducted from a life of privilege in Beijing and flung headlong into a brutal and sordid life in Mantua. We like to imagine that Italy during the Renaissance was very cultured and refined, but the day-to-day reality was surprisingly barbaric. I hope you can join me as I piece these elements together: the survival of a young Chinese slave woman, of Andrea Mantegna and his magnificent frescoes, and finally, about this corrupt and depraved practice that destroyed so many lives. Please make a pledge for the Pumilo child at unbound.co.uk so I can bring this thriller to life. Thank you very much. Good. Can I have that glass of wine now?